Oh, it is. It is. Tuesday episode. I had to think about that for a second. What day is it today? It is a Tuesday episode. Taco Tuesday episode of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I am Alex Donno. I'm with you for the next hour or so. It's going to be a Miami Heat heavy episode today. We will mix in some Miami Dolphins talk as well. But you know how we do it on Tuesdays. Our featured guest, 215, Brady Hawk, hardest working man at 5 Reasons Sports Network. He's always posting the 5 takeaways, Brady's breakdowns. He's going to help us break down the excellent basketball we've been seeing for about the past week with the Miami Heat. If you had any doubts, they are back. At 2:35, we're going to talk some Heat and some Dolphins with Mr. Taco Tuesday himself. Dave Friedman at Taco Bout Sports is going to join us. What a difference 5 or 6 days makes. What a difference a 3-game road trip, an extended weekend makes for these Miami Heat. The conversations, not just the ones we were having, but the conversations everyone was having a week ago, NBA-wise, was about how much trouble the Heat were in. Oh, these guys can't get along. They're never going to recover from Spo jawing with Jimmy and Jimmy jawing with Udonis. These guys hate each other. Like, even at this point, when the Heat have won 4 straight games. Now, the Sacramento Kings was practically a free victory to start out that stretch. But then you went on the road against 3 Eastern Conference contenders. You beat Boston in the Garden. You beat Chicago. They're frauds. I get it. They don't beat anybody good. But you beat them at the United Center. And then you beat the Toronto Raptors on the second end of a back-to-back. And you did that, by the way, without Jimmy, without Gabe Vincent, without PJ Tucker. You had Victor Oladipo step up and have the best game we've seen him have in, 2-3 years? Oladipo was freaking fantastic in that Raptors game. And so, you know what? I'm going to say this, and hold on, and let me pull up the Eastern Conference standings here real quick. Because, listen, a week ago, the idea of finishing with the number 1 seed, for however much importance we put on that, a week ago, you thought, yeah, the outlook is not so great to finish number 1 in the Eastern Conference. Now the Heat have firmly taken back control of that, and they've got it by 2 full games over the Boston Celtics, who they just beat, 2.5 games over the Milwaukee Bucks, and that's where you are at right now. You are back firmly in control, the regular season almost over, of the top seed in the Eastern Conference. So, yeah, the Heat are back, and yeah, the Heat are as good as we thought they were a couple of weeks ago. Now, you have to watch shows like this to hear about that. And you have to watch networks like this, the 5 Reasons Sports Network, to hear anything about that. Because if you watch ESPN every day, you only hear about the Heat when they're struggling or fighting each other during timeouts. And then when the Heat are doing well, not a freaking peep. Not a peep from Stephen A. Smith. Not a peep from the Get Up crew. Not a peep from the NBA Live crew. If the Heat are doing well, all you hear about from the national shows are, oh, what are the Lakers who stink this year? What are they up to? What are the Nets who stink this year? What are they up to? I guess those are the only 2 teams they consider actually moving the needle. Right? You got to talk about the Lakers. You got to talk about the Nets. Let's not even talk about the teams that are doing well. Let's just talk about the teams who have superstar players and can't get out of their own way. So, yeah. You have to watch shows like this. You've got to listen to shows like 5 on the Floor. You've got to watch shows like Ethan Skolnick's Starting 9 to actually talk about how the Miami Heat are doing. And that reminds me, my friends, before we go any further on this episode, do us a couple of big favors. They're easy favors, and they don't cost you a cent. First thing, smash the like button. You see that little thumbs up on YouTube? Smash that like button, because the more likes we get, the more people see this video, the more people see this channel. And then while you're at it, if you haven't already subscribed to 5 Reasons Sports YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Thank you. Is it Jacques or Jacques? Whoever you are, wherever you come from, thank you so much. David writes in, the Heat are back, and Donno is back mushing them. The team that I've been really careful about not wanting to mush are the Florida Panthers. I'm trying to be really, really careful. They're having one of the best regular seasons in South Florida history right now, and I'm trying so badly not to mush the Florida Panthers. Now, I look at this Miami Heat team, and this is something that when he joins us in about 11 minutes, Brady Hawk is going to help us break down. The biggest problem with the Miami Heat right now, it's actually a strength that kind of becomes a weakness. It's a good problem to have. It's an embarrassment of riches. An embarrassment of riches that when you're tightening up that 9-man rotation and you want to be really consistent with that come playoff time, and obviously, knock on wood, you hope nobody gets injured, and if somebody does, God forbid, you know you do have depth off the bench that you can just kind of spring into that rotation, which is great. But when you're coming up with and finalizing and tweaking that rotation, if you're Eric Spoelstra, as my friends, we're 11 days away from the playoffs beginning. April 16th is when the playoffs open up. You're going to make some tough decisions, and there's going to be some disappointed, really good players on the Miami Heat that do not get to be a part of that playoff rotation. And I'm going to tell you, a guy who's going to create a lot of conversation, and unfortunately for him, and unfortunately for me, because I was hyping up his season debut all the way up until early March when he finally made it on the court. Unless somebody gets hurt, Victor Oladipo is not going to be part of it. Now, Victor Oladipo got a chance to play on Sunday in Toronto because Gabe Vincent didn't. And that was such a performance from Oladipo. 7 for 11 shooting, including 6 of 9 for 3. And the other field goal that he made was a thunderous freaking dunk where it's like, man, this guy's had like every injury in the books during his NBA career, and he still got ups like that. That was a great sign from Oladipo. His net rating was a +5 on the day. Those are the sort of performances when Victor Oladipo can do that. You're saying, man, it's going to be so difficult to leave this guy out of the playoff rotation. And I'm going to ask Brady Hawk if there's any way outside of injury that he can get into that, because I don't think he can, right? Because you go back to, a week and a half ago when the Heat had that little skirmish in the timeout and you had some hard feelings, you had some players not getting along. I think part of what was bubbling over and boiling over at that point among these teammates was the rotation was not smooth at that point because they were forcing Oladipo into it. They were forcing Markieff Morris back into it, and the chemistry was just gone. The same magic, the lightning that they had trapped in the bottle to that point to be the number 1 seed in the East, everything got discombobulated. Now, this is the NBA, not the NFA. It's the National Basketball Association, not the National Feelings Association. Spo can't be worried about hurting anybody's feelings. Pat Riley can't be worried about hurting anybody's feelings. And I guess the good thing about Victor Oladipo is you're not paying him that much this year because he's on the show me deal this season. It's nice to know he's capable of stepping in the DeLorean and turning back the clock to a few years ago and playing the way that he did on Sunday. But I don't think you're going to see him get that opportunity in the postseason unless somebody gets hurt. Sean says, for the first time ever, I believe he being Spo should run a 10-man rotation, but when we play, we go hard. Is that even, and listen, like normally you'd say if the rotation in the playoffs is going to be a little bit bigger, it would be bigger in the first round. Like when you're the 1 seed, usually the first round is a squash match. But the first round of the playoffs, it might be Heat versus Brooklyn Nets, 1 versus 8. Like, I was watching Ethan Skolnick's Starting 9 episode, which you can find on this wonderful channel, 5 Reasons Sports YouTube. Ethan on his Starting 9, which is a tremendous show, he was ranting a little bit about Heat fans being afraid of the Brooklyn Nets, that there's all this fear for facing Brooklyn in the first round of the postseason if things do line up that way, and they very well might. Personally, and I can't speak for every Heat fan, I certainly can't speak for all of Heat Twitter, I don't think it's fear of the opponent. I just think it's frustration that might be the team you have to go up against in round 1. It's just it doesn't feel right. Now, there's a reason why Brooklyn right now is in the 10 spot in the East, and they're a play-in team, not even a surefire playoff team. They've had issues all season long. They've obviously had issues with health. They've had issues with egos. They've had issues with chemistry and a lack thereof. And that's why they're in the position that they're in now. But I understand why there's frustration about the idea of facing that team is because they're loaded on paper with talent. And that's not usually the type of team the number one goes up against in the number 8 in the first round of the playoffs. So you'd be favored on paper to beat that team in a playoff series, and you should beat that team in a playoff series, but you might have to work a little bit harder to win the first round than you normally would as a 1 seed. So again, I don't think it's fear. I just think it's annoyance that you're going to go up against a team potentially in round 1 that has a lot of potential. And it's like, wait, that's our prize for being the top seed? Like, you work your asses off all regular season long to win more games than anyone else in the Eastern Conference. And the grand prize is you get to go up against, on paper, one of the 2 or 3 most talented teams in the league. That's your reward for being really, really good this year. I think that's why Heat fans are annoyed at the idea. Daddy Dean says, I think it is the potential of Brooklyn, but Heat will crush them. I hope so. And that would just put the cherry on top for what's been a really humiliating season for the Brooklyn Nets. Like, fighting for a 10 seed, that's not what they expected or signed up for this year. Like, fighting just to get into the play-in round, that's not what Brooklyn was thinking their season outlook was this year. So yeah, if the Heat goes out there, they sweep their asses or they gentlemen sweep them, oh, that would be such a tasty way to end their year. Jermaine writes in, Brooklyn shouldn't even get in the playoffs. The play-in only rewards bad teams. I think the play-in is ridiculous, but you see the trends, right? The NBA expanded their playoffs. The NFL, over the last couple of years, they've expanded their playoffs. These leagues, they want to hand out more participation trophies. It's about inclusion, not exclusion, right? They want to print more money is what they're doing. You know, you remember, it's been a long time. I don't know how long it was that there were just traditional 8 seeds in the NBA for decades. They had that. You remember when the first round used to be just 5 games? The first round used to be a 5-game series. They expanded all of those to 7. A couple years ago, they expanded the playoffs to 10 with the play-in. The NFL added a playoff team to each conference. They just want to have more games on TV, so they up those TV contracts. They want to be able to sell more games out, sell more tickets in stadiums. It's just all about printing money, and it's all about participation trophies and inclusion because more fans get to say, hey, my team was in the playoffs. How about that? Where's your team? My team's in the – forget about the fact that they let everybody into the playoffs these days. My team is in. I think I didn't mean – I'm not sure what he's referring to. I didn't mean to pull up this message. I meant to pull up this message from Daddy Dean who says, Brooklyn is a mess, not stable, and no identity with Brooklyn. So basically the opposite of the Miami Heat. And going back to, I don't want to make this a game recap of the Toronto victory because that was a couple of days ago now. And the Heat face Charlotte tonight. We're going to talk with Brady Hawk about that. But, of course, you had the delayed, I don't know what you call it, homecoming return. Kyle Lowry in Toronto. Awesome reception he got from those fans. And he played really well, 16 points on the day. Max Strus, 23 points. 7 for 9 from 3. So Max Strus was doing that. What was the $90 million bricklayer Duncan Robinson doing? Oh, yeah, he was laying bricks. Duncan Robinson, 0 for 2, 13 minutes, scored the same amount of points I did on Sunday. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for playing. But, man, that was a fantastic Miami Heat dub. So some of the things I want to go through with Brady Hawk from 5 Reasons Sports when he joins us in a couple of minutes. Does he fear Brooklyn? How would he break down a potential 1 versus 8 matchup between the Miami Heat and the Brooklyn Nets? How does he handicap that? Another thing is, and I was I mentioned earlier that ESPN, they only talk about the Heat when things aren't going well. And otherwise, they just devote all of their NBA blocks to the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Lakers, mostly the Lakers. But I did see a headline. I didn't click on it because life's too short to click on clickbait all day long. But I saw a headline. I think it was a quote from Brian Windhorst from the last couple of days saying that, the Heat they've gotten through that spat that they had, the whole altercation and the timeout, that they've gotten through it. But the scars remain. I love how that's your big takeaway after the Heat are freaking back. They sweep a difficult road trip in the East. They take out Boston on the road. They take out Chicago on the road. They come from double digits down to take out Toronto on the road. 2 games in front of the Eastern Conference. To people like me, that altercation that they had on the court, it was, what was it, like a week and a half ago? It feels like it was a year and a half ago. Like, it's so far in my rear view mirror. And yet the NBA analysts are talking about, well, they may be winning games again, but the scars still remain. And these are hurt. As soon as the playoffs start, it's like a ticking time bomb. They'll never be able to get through this adversity. It is what it is. And all right, let's bring on our first guest of the day. And guys, if you're not smashing the like button for me, smash the like button for Brady Hawk. He's got the wired headphones. He brings it old school for me. I wear headphones with wires. In fact, I only own headphones with wires. He wears special wired headphones just so he doesn't intimidate me. And he covers all things Miami Heat and NBA on 5reasonsports.com. So, Brady, do you think, and be serious, maybe if you think I'm making light of a serious situation, you let me know. Do you think that the scars still remain from that on-court altercation between Spo and Jimmy?
No, I think I don't think that really made a lot of sense. I think maybe there was a little bit more to unpack there, why it happened, at that point or what happened beforehand. But now that they're past it. Like, maybe something else could drum up in the future. But with that specific scenario, like, that's in the past. And I think the way you patch that type of stuff is having on-court success. And a 4-game winning streak on the road is a way to kind of push that, even further behind you.
Yeah, and okay, so the potential prize for winning the number 1 seed, it could end up being a first-round playoff matchup with Brooklyn. Now, I know our boss man, Ethan Skolnick, his blood pressure is through the roof because I watched him on Starting 9. I think it was yesterday's episode. I listened to his most recent 5 on the floor, and he is adamant about how upset he is at Heat fans, in his words, fearing Brooklyn. Now, I don't know if it's fear. I just think it's frustration that they just, like, Heat fans, they wanted like a free series first round. Like, if you win the 1 seed, you should get a squash match. And Brooklyn's got a lot of potential with all the talent they have. So do you think Heat fans are too afraid? And how would you handicap a first round playoff series between the Heat and the Brooklyn Nets if we get it?
Yeah, I think you hit on it first off. One of the first things you said is that I think it's just that the reward isn't as great as I think many thought it would be to get the 1 seed. Like, you work so hard throughout a regular season, have so many things, ups and downs, guys in and out. You end up in a 1 seed after all this mess, a sideline altercation, and then you're playing the Brooklyn Nets, who is on, every TV channel of sports you turn on every single day. I think the biggest fear is that they have one of the best players in the world in Kevin Durant, that, as we saw the other night, he could put up 55. But the flip side of that is he could put up 55 and that team could still lose. Like, they lost to a fellow playing team with that 55. And that's kind of where I come down on it, that it's probably tougher than other matchups, maybe in that range, like a Cleveland who's kind of declining. You'd obviously rather see an Atlanta or a Charlotte. But they're still not Milwaukee. They're still not Boston. And they're still not, these top teams in the East. They're down there for a reason. Yes, part of it is because Kyrie Irving was out for that time. But he hasn't been great since he's kind of been back and they released that the mandate and everything where he can play at home. He hasn't been at his greatest. That I feel like, there's a fear in Kevin Durant, but that team does not have a lot of depth. I think a lot of people are thinking in that middle of that losing streak when they kind of really gave them a beating at home. I think that's kind of sticking with people as well, that if it was a close game in that one, people wouldn't be as scared. But that game, I think, striking fear. But I think they'd be able to handle them. I definitely feel like a worst case scenario or best case scenario, you need to get the 1 seed to get home court advantage over other teams. That's one of the things I agree with Ethan on a lot, that you would rather a game 7 at home against Milwaukee and Boston than worrying about a Brooklyn Nets team that has, 2 top tier players, but not much after that.
That's a really good point as well, that we can't only think about the first round. We need to think about the next couple of rounds as well in the East. So that makes a lot of sense. Now, for my guy, Victor Oladipo, it seems like Chris Quinn might be the coach that he needs, that he can get some burn as long as Chris Quinn is on the bench. With Eric Spoelstra, not so much. And okay, so Depot, he got plenty of burn the other night with no Gabe Vincent, and he had best game I've seen him have in years. Like that was the freaking dunk was like, oh my, he can still do that. You know, the night that he had shooting the three was incredible. Now I've seen enough, heard enough, read enough to figure that if everyone's healthy, I don't think he's in the playoff rotation. And I think that, you know, the players who are in the rotation have lobbied for Gabe Vincent over Victor Oladipo. So is there any way, barring injury, that we see a steady dose of Depot in the playoffs, or is he likely to have a nice spot on the pine?
I think barring injury, definitely. Like if there's, let's even say if Gabe Vincent's struggling, if there is an injury, I think he's next in line. Like he's right knocking on that door. But speaking of sample size, like this was one game. He was amazing in that one game. But Gabe Vincent's shown, even though he's had some, down moments of shooting the ball as of late, we've seen it on a bigger sample size that he's been able to perform throughout the season and really click specifically with this rotation. Like when they went through that kind of 4-game losing streak, it wasn't on Oladipo, but it was a lot of just not really gelling. Guys were just kind of Tyler would talk about trying to force feed Depot and to get him going. Like they needed a group that was just trying to win basketball games, and that's what Gabe Vincent kind of provides. But when Depot's plugging in, he didn't look like he was being force fed in Toronto. Like he looked like he was just playing his game. He was knocking down threes. He's defending at a decently high level. Like the way to, I think a part of that maybe be that extra rest, like not playing those few games, him coming back out there. Something he hasn't done in a while is kind of play consistently game after game. So that may have something to do with it. But I do believe right now, as we sit right now, I don't think he's in the playoff rotation. But I don't see a reason why, if something goes wrong, that is a card Eric Spoelstra can play. We always talk about it, things in his back pocket and the chips he can play. That's a pretty big chip you can play if things kind of go south.
I figure looking ahead to postseason awards, I figure that he'd have 6th man of the year locked up with Tyler Hero. It'd be laughable if he doesn't win it. What about Adebayo, defensive player of the year? You think he takes that?
I don't think it's likely. Like personally, we could sit here and talk about all the things he does defensively and how great he's been this season, but it just feels like, the Marcus Smart push has been big. Specifically, they're saying about a guard. Robert Williams had moments throughout the season. It feels like all these other guys are getting deeper pushes from the national perspective. That I don't know if it has to be maybe next season pushing it a little bit earlier in the season. I feel like we had this discussion last season where we said we were making this defensive player of the year push into, from the Heat a little too late in the season. Maybe this is another time like that, even though they kind of hit it mid-season. I think the missing December kind of had a little bit of a push to it. Draymond Green missing time kind of helped his case, I think, a little bit. But ultimately, I think it's going to get one of those, somebody probably on Boston or another guy. It just feels like they're going to end up giving it to.
We're joined here by Brady Hawk from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Does an awesome job with the Brady breakdowns on video, YouTube, and on his Twitter account. Excellent work he does, written word on the website as well. So the Heat have the Charlotte Hornets tonight. I don't know. I don't know if do you think he's overthinking this? He says the Heat should lose this game to the Hornets to keep the Nets at the 10 spot. Now, Spoelstra is not going to do any tanking, okay? But would it be better for the Heat if they did lose tonight?
I don't know. That's too complex for me to think about. Like I just feel like they're just gonna play their game. Like they've said it before that they're not dodging anybody. They're definitely not dodging a 10 seed. I know it's the Brooklyn Nets, but if you're the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, you are not losing games on purpose for a 10 seed in the Eastern Conference. It's just not the way you go about it. But specifically with this matchup, I think it'll be interesting to kind of see. I think Kyle Lowry definitely gets rest. He had body soreness on the injury report. It changed to like a rest type thing, so he should probably be out tonight. So that's more important than anything. It's not that you're trying to lose for matchup wise; it's that you're getting guys, preparing them at least for the playoffs, at least to have a little bit more rest involved.
Now, something we've come to find out throughout the season is when Brady Hawk, when he covers games in person, he tends to be good luck. Since I tend to be bad luck, I take notice of when people are good luck. Do you plan on covering a lot of the playoff games this year?
Yeah, I'm actually going. I think we got a third credential for the playoffs, so I should be at all the home games in the playoffs.
Oh, that is fan. Go on some road games as well, please. I will. I'll start. I'm not going to say I'll pay for it myself because that would be a lie, but I will start a GoFundMe to get your hotel rooms on the road trips. I want through first round through the finals. I want Brady Hawk on all the road trips as well.
I'm in. I'm in. Definitely the finals. I'm in.
No doubt about that. So, hey, let the people know, man. Do you have anything new coming out over the next couple of days? I'm sure there's a lot you're going to have after the Charlotte game. So, where can people find all your work?
Yeah, 5 takeaways and regular articles on 5reasonsports.com, Twitter at Brady Hawk 305, and then obviously 5 on the floor regularly.
I feel like there's so much more we should be talking about. Do you get real quick before I let you run, because this is something, even I was doing a football segment with Alfredo Arteaga yesterday, and he's also a Heat fan. He brings this up. He's very frustrated about it. When you're watching ESPN, does it drive you crazy when all they're talking about are the Lakers and Nets, and there are actual teams out there like the Miami Heat who are putting together good seasons? They only talk about the Heat when the rare times that they're struggling.
Yeah, it's I don't watch it much, but it doesn't make much sense to me that there's the two teams that get the most coverage are a 10 seed and 11 seed. Like the fact that they stretched out the playoffs from 8 to 10 teams and you're still at the 11 seed in the Lakers, but you're still getting the same coverage. That's just pretty wild to me. And LeBron's out tonight, so I don't know what they're going to talk about in that Western Conference during playoff time. If they have 10 teams they haven't talked about all season. But it's not only the Heat; it's these other teams. You look in the West, like Phoenix, I think deserves more coverage. Memphis deserves more coverage. Like there's a lot of these teams that probably deserve a lot more, but it just is what it is. I feel like the Heat are going to be getting coverage. Everybody wants Heat coverage. They're going to be getting coverage if they play the Nets in that first round that everybody hates.
And listen, I gotta tell you, man, like certain hot button topics, they work. I can understand why ESPN does it. Like people wonder why every chance I get, I put the name Tua in one of my episode titles. I didn't do it today, but every chance I get, I put Tua in one of my episode titles. Like Brady, this was crazy. Like on yesterday's show, I spent the first 10 minutes just laughing about how people were making a big deal about Tua not being the first guy in the building for offseason workouts yesterday. And like, I like trolling Tua, so I would have loved to have like found an angle. Let me make fun of, oh, where's the leadership? He's not the first guy in. It was so absurd I couldn't do it. Like I actually had to defend Tua yesterday, and yesterday's episode was, I don't know, probably one of the top 5 most watched episodes I've done. So it's like ESPN probably they probably have the same data. Like Stephen A. Smith, you know, there's a reason why Stephen A. Smith is like making more money than like some actual professional athletes. Like they're like, Stephen A., we noticed that there's a huge spike in ratings when you just say the word LeBron or you mention Lakers or you mention Kyrie, the ratings go through. Okay, let me talk about them all the time. It's probably that was a terrible impression, by the way. For strike that from the record, but I think that's the formula there, Brady.
And I mean, let's say they have these shows on ESPN. They also cut them down into YouTube videos like you're making right now. And you mentioned the new name Tua throwing in there and getting publicity. When you throw Kevin Durant or LeBron or Nets or Lakers in there on these YouTube videos, they probably do a lot better than when you say Devin Booker or Jimmy Butler. Like they just do. But it's just controversial topics. I guess if it's positive or negative, no matter what it is, they're going to talk about it if it gets clicks.
I love it. All right. Well, Brady Hawk, make sure you guys follow him at Brady Hawk 305 on Twitter. Check out the Brady breakdowns. Make sure you read his work at 5reasonsports.com and catch him on 5 on the Floor as well. Brady, thank you so much, man. Enjoy the game tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Good stuff there from Brady Hawk. You know, and again, on that note, I was frustrated today. I've been combing the internet all throughout the day. Is there anything going on with Tua? I don't think there is. I don't think there's anything going on with Tua. There is an interesting Dolphins headline I wanted to get to, though, here. And in about 7 minutes, we're going to be joined by our friend Taco himself, Dave Friedman at Taco About Sports. So Bleacher Report put out this list. 2022 NFL free agents who signed with the wrong team. Players they are accusing of just picking a team when they should have picked another team. So I'm going through this list to see, did they include any Miami Dolphins signees in this? Now, keep in mind, free agent players. So Tyreek Hill was not in consideration for this piece. I'm sure they would have been more than happy to say, well, Tyreek Hill should not have wanted to be traded to the Miami Dolphins because their quarterback can't throw it more than 3 yards down the field. Oh, that's the sort of rhetoric you hear. But he was a trade, not a free agent. So he's not included in this. They did find a way to include a Miami Dolphins player, though, in free agents who chose the wrong team. Can you guess who it was? Now, think about some of the free agents the Dolphins have signed. They signed Teron Armstead. They signed Raheem Mostert, Chase Edmonds. Who do you think that ESPN considered to be the newest Miami Dolphins signee who picked the wrong team in free agency? Well, it's not any of the names I mentioned, but they went with Cedric Wilson. They have decided, Bleacher Report decided, I think I said ESPN, I meant Bleacher Report. They decided that Cedric Wilson, free agent wide receiver who comes over to the Dolphins from the Cowboys, chose the wrong team. Let me read you a piece of this and tell me if you agree or disagree. They say, after a breakout season with the Dallas Cowboys, Cedric Wilson put himself in position to become a second or third option in the passing game for an NFL team. Posted 45 catches, 602 yards last year, 6 touchdowns with an expanded role in light of Michael Gallup's injury this season. The problem with returning to Dallas was he was going to once again be a fourth or fifth option there. When Wilson signed with Miami, it looked like he would be the second or third option behind Jalen Waddle and tight end Mike Gesicki. Now with Tyreek Hill in the fold, they say Wilson once again appears to be falling in the pecking order before he even suits up for his new team. Assuming Mike McDaniel plans on installing a similar offense to what he ran in San Francisco, that's not much of a role, he said. The 49ers ran the ball at the 4th highest rate last season, and with the addition of Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert in free agency, it would appear that's part of the plan once again. Hill, Gesicki, and Waddle will all get more targets, while the running game will make opportunities even more scarce for Wilson. I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration. I think that the Dolphins plan to spread the football out a lot. And, this might have been written before the Devontae Parker trade, although they didn't mention Devontae Parker's name in this. I think Devontae Parker being traded is a really good thing for Cedric Wilson because that's one less guy he has to compete with. I really think this is going to be the type of offense where, it's going to be a run-first offense, but I think they want Tua Tagovailoa to spread the football out to a number of different targets, and that includes all those names they mentioned. That includes obviously Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, and I think it's going to include Cedric Wilson as well. Now, for Cedric Wilson, I can't speak for the man. At the time that he was acquired by the Dolphins, when he signed with the Dolphins, like the rest of us, he may have had no idea under the sun that the Dolphins were eventually going to trade for Tyreek Hill. I don't think when he was sitting down to sign his contract, like, just so you know, about a week and a half from now, we might be trading for one of the top 3 receivers in the National Football League. Just so you know, when you're putting pen to paper, he probably had no idea that a guy like Tyreek Hill was coming in. So would that have changed his criteria? Like when he was looking which team to sign for, maybe he thought, I'm going to be the number 2 receiver with Jalen Waddle. Now he's the number 3 receiver. There's also a tight end who's going to catch a lot of balls. I would like to think that Cedric Wilson is a competitor. And I would like to think that he goes into the season thinking, you know what? If I go out there and play my ass off and I work out with Tua, I build some chemistry with Tua, maybe build some chemistry with Bridgewater as well in case Tua misses some games and Teddy's got to step in. Just throwing that out there. Build some chemistry with these guys, play your ass off, and you're going to get your opportunities, right? I don't think he should be going into this thinking, hey, I'm probably going to be the 4th or 5th option. No, go into it thinking, no, I'm going to be the 1st or 2nd option here. Right. I want to remind you, friends, before we talk to Mr. Taco about sports in a couple minutes, this show is proudly served by the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Make the Quarterdeck your spot. They are the official sports bar of Donno Daily. And hey, we're going to be having multiple, I hope, depends on how far the Heat go, multiple playoff watch parties at the Quarterdeck Davy. I love to watch a big game and a big fight at the Davy Quarterdeck and all the Quarterdeck locations. When you roll into the Quarterdeck, you are surrounded by TVs. There are flat screen, high definition TVs covering every wall. The game you want or the fight you want is always on. They have every UFC pay-per-view fight for no cover charge, by the way. Guys, you got to check out the Quarterdeck and go online and check out their menu if you haven't already. The seafood is amazing. The fresh mahi-mahi, the fresh sushi and poke bowls, the buffalo shrimp are my favorite appetizer on the planet. The burgers and sandwiches are absolutely mouth-watering. I love the all-American burger. I love the French dip beef sandwich. The baby back ribs are out of control. They're so tender, so good. It's been a minute since I had the baby back ribs. That might be what I have to get the next time I go out there. the Quarter Deck is a great place to wet your whistle. They got 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day that never ends. So when you're looking for a spot to either just grab a nice meal, grab some 2-for-1 drinks, they got 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. If you're looking to grab a drink, grab some lunch, some dinner, or you want to watch a big game or a big fight, check out the Quarter Deck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Go to their website where you can find the location nearest to you. They're all over Broward County. Or check out their full menu before you go. QuarterDeckRestaurants.com. The Quarter Deck, come for the food, stay for the fun. No matter what sport is in season, it is always betting season because BetUS.com, they are America's favorite sports book. They are the official sports book of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. They've got your action. They've got you covered. It is a full-service sports book and casino, fully available in Florida, by the way. You can sign up and use all the services at BetUS.com in Florida. So even though college basketball and the tournament, that's now in the rear view, got the NBA playoffs coming up, Stanley Cup playoffs coming up. Football season is going to be here before you know it. It's always fight season because there's always UFC and boxing going on. And international soccer, there's always games being played somewhere. You can bet on all of it at the 3-decade leader, BetUS.com, including live betting on everything. That's technology that has changed the game, guys. Live betting, they've got props, they've got parlays. So go on to BetUS.com and make your deposit. When you make your deposit, we're going to give you the best bonus in the industry. So make sure you remember this. Take a screenshot of it. Write it down if you think you're going to forget it. Use our code 5RSN125. That's 5RSN125. They're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus with that code. If you deposit $100, they're going to give you $125 in free play money on top of your deposit. How good is that? And bet on sports, play in their full casino, play blackjack for real money. I do it all the time at betus.com with our code 5RSN125. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. It's a Taco Tuesday, my friends. Let's talk to our pal, Dave Friedman. Talk about sports. Prize Picks. Wow, you're fully decked out today. You got merch, bro. You got Prize Picks hoodie. You got a Prize Picks cup you're drinking out of. That must be all that money you're winning on prizepicks.com. Are you muted, sir?
Yeah, we got technical difficulties. I'm at like 3.9 million. I know we checked in last week. It was like 2.9. But just so you know, Ethan did kind of like give me a little, hey, you mentioned code 5 when you go on. I said, like, you don't watch my educational segments when I'm on with Donno. Like, I always mention code 5, right?
You're the master of it.
Yeah.
You always do.
Code 5. Sign up with code 5.
And I've even got it on the screen for those who for those who may be like auditory impaired. Maybe you just watch, because like when the YouTube replays come out, they do usually put subtitles. So I don't know, maybe if you're hearing impaired and you just watch the episodes later with subtitles, right there you could see it, the code 5 FIVE. So
can we put it there in Braille or something like that?
Do we have that technology? I don't even know.
I'm sure Ethan, like, he's doing so good here, you know? What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. What do you make of Devontae Parker getting traded within the division? Is that something that troubles you, or are you like me and you're thinking this guy's always hurt, doesn't create any separation? I'm not worried about it.
I don't know. Like, you know, the funny part to me is you'll have the same people. Oh, Chris Greer saved his job. He's you know, he crushed it, right? With the Tyreek Hill thing and free agency. And then it's like, wait a second, he's an idiot for trading Devontae Parker to the. Maybe there was a reason, right? First of all, maybe they didn't care that he went to New England. And like you said, man, he's constantly injured. Is he good when he is on the field? Sure. But I saw it was scrolling on the bottom of Pat McAfee before, like Darius Butler said, Devontae Parker is like one of the best athletes he's ever seen.
What?
Which I'm not in a position to judge, right? But to me, that was like, what are we doing here, right? Like, people are going so extreme with this, and it's like,
wow.
You know, he's been he's been in our possession for years. They know what he is.
Since
Who cares, man?
2015. Like he's been adult. Like our previous guest, Brady Hawk, was probably like 9 years old when Devontae Parker was drafted. Like he's been a Dolphin forever. It's time to move. I don't care. Like I said this yesterday. I don't care if they traded him to New England or to the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Like I'm not worried wherever this guy goes.
I mean, again, if it was like a Will Fuller, would you be worried? You know, it's like, don't get me wrong. Devontae Parker has produced when he's on the field. But when he's on our team, everyone wants him gone. So,
Right.
like, what's the difference? He's going to go there and he has Mac Jones. Like, we all think Mac Jones sucks. What are we worried about?
I mean, I think Mac Jones might be the best Alabama quarterback in the last 3 years to come out of college. I don't know if that's saying much, though. I really don't know if that's saying much with the way that things are going. Did you make anything of Tua not being the first guy in the building for off-season workouts? That offended some people, that there's this old school mentality that, hey, the quarterback, he's got to be the leader. He's got to lead by example. Ryan Tannehill, he was always the first guy in, last guy out. That didn't really seem to translate to a whole lot of on-field success down here, but Tua was not the first man in yesterday.
Like, let's make a big deal about everything while we're at it, right? I mean, that's what it is, right? We're looking for things to pick at. I mean, again, you'll have the same fans go on one extreme about something and then reverse to it's kind of crazy. But ultimately, like, we're so concerned with Tua and can he play on the field? Like, all that extra stuff, man. Just, we're not worried about his character. Like that, I think that's the one thing we can all agree on. We're not worried about his character. We're not worried about who he is as a person or a competitor. It's on-field stuff. Like, what are we doing here? It's like, I get it. We're in the offseason. No, I'm not concerned about any of that.
By the way, I like this message that came in where did it go? So somebody wrote that I can play a young Bruce Arians if they make I think it's because of the hat. But yeah, I could.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I would love to. Unfortunately, they would probably have to change actors by the end of the movie, unless like they can do the aging makeup to me. Like you can put some makeup on me, and I'll get a little sunburn. I can pretend to be Bruce Arians.
So the problem for you would be you like Tom Brady, and Tom Brady doesn't like Bruce Arians. So I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm an actor. But the thing is, and I'm sure Brady would play himself in the movie because he's so good looking. He could do anything he wants to. On screen, I would be okay having a rivalry with Brady, especially if he's playing himself and I'm playing Bruce Arians. I could probably strike a friendship with him behind the scenes, which would be awesome. But I could pretend we don't get along. Like in real life, that could never happen. But I would love to be in the part of the movie where we explain Brady screws me over. he retires for 41 days. Like, if you guys want me back, you have to get rid of that clown with the hat. All right. So I wouldn't mind being in that part of the film.
Look, he could be in a lot worse positions, like money-wise and job-wise, but that's got to sting a little bit, right? Publicly, you're the guy that Tom Brady said, hey, you got to get rid of him or else. Like, it's kind of crazy. So maybe you could convince Tom Brady to like Arians. Who knows?
Maybe I could.
They'll switch back and he'll take the job back.
Oh, my God. Do you think Tua is going to make the talking heads pay? Because I've noticed something, Dave, and I find this to be funny. And listen, I joke about Tua. I'm skeptical. I am rooting for the guy. I think you're in the same boat with me, that we make jokes sometimes. We're both rooting for him because we're Dolphin fans above everything else. The little social media warfare between the Tua haters and the Tua supporters, it's gotten to be so funny because like they're dunking on each other with hypotheticals, right? Like the Tua haters are basically already talking about how he's not going to get Tyreek Hill the football, and like they're dunking on and then the Tua lovers, I saw a few days ago, they were passing around this meme, and like all of them were like getting so excited about this meme that was going around where it's like, they're saving all the receipts, and when Tua balls out this year, they're going to throw it in the faces of all these TV, and like they're actually dunking on people with that. I'm like, wait, how are you trying to dunk on people with something that hasn't happened yet? Like you're dunking on people with a hypothetical. Like you're flexing. Like, oh my God, when he proves everybody wrong, we're going to be even more insufferable than we are right now. You guys are going to have to hide. You're going to have to deactivate your accounts when he has an MVP year, when he wins a Super Bowl, it's like, you know what? Great. I'd love to see it. And if a few people, probably more than a few people, want to dunk on me on Twitter because Tua wins league MVP in a Super Bowl, I'm also a Dolphin fan. I'm going to the fucking parade and I'm going to have a great time.
Well, that's the thing, man. It's like, it's kind of like when people come out with the stories about Deshaun Watson's definitely going here, and it's not true. Like you jump in front of it because you have to have like if it doesn't come true, then you can't do it, right? So get it out of your system, I guess. But look, the whole social media thing is hilarious with this Chris Long stuff that was going on with Tuanon, and they met him up in Temecula or something like that. Like, they're doing the Lord's work over here. I mean, they're taking care of all of Dolphins Twitter. And I think the funny thing to me is that's the one thing that's sort of brought everyone together, which is no matter what side you're on, that is funny. That is funny. So with that part of it, it's really just been a nice positive on Twitter,
Have you ever, speaking of meet me in Temecula, you seemed like a really chill guy. Have you ever been in a fist fight before? Like, have you ever, even going back to your school days? So never, you're a pacifist.
Yeah, look, I use my words, but no, I've never actually gotten to a fist fight.
Have you ever gotten into like a Twitter war? Like, because I see our guy Alfredo Arteaga, he's basically been bullying Chris Long into submission. Like, he's been going after him. Have you ever? I don't think I've ever been in any all-out wars. There's a couple of jackasses like on Italian soccer Twitter who have tried to drag me, and I've had to defend myself. Like, there's this one dude who's like, he lives in his mom's basement. Probably he's a big Napoli fan. Napoli's only won 2 championships in Italy ever, and it was because they had Diego Maradona for a few years, and that was like 30-something years ago. So I had to put this guy in his place a couple times. He tried to put me in my place. I've had some Tua stands try to argue with me, but like, there's so many of them, it's hard to keep up with what they're up to. Have you ever gotten in any bad Twitter fights?
Yeah, I mean, I could probably go down a list if I did my my research, but I would say like the 2 things that off the top of my head, like the Harden stuff and Deshaun Watson, just in the sense of like, these situations where it's like so extreme, and obviously the Tua thing, but I think it's similar where it's just there's one extreme or the other, right? And for me, me, like I'm constantly trying to sort of see the middle of it. And when people don't want to do that, that's when you kind of have to, like, people come at you all the time, right? I mean, a lot of times you just let it go.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's more about just trying to set the record straight of what you're actually saying, because people want to take your words and twist it into you hate Tua or, you hate Tyler Hero. No, that's not what it is, so it's...
I mean, I do hate Duncan Robinson. So when people drag me for that, I'm like, okay, he's making $90 million to lay bricks. All right. I'll
you and Hot Take Harry together, yeah.
I love Hot Take Harry. Oh my God. Hey, but before we run, as you're wearing the beautiful Prize Picks hoodie, let people know Prize Picks, to me, Prize Picks is the ultimate daily fantasy because I love parlays. I also love daily fantasy because instant gratification. It's what I'm all about. It's why years ago I started pivoting. I still do a couple of year-long fantasy leagues in football. I cut out basketball and baseball, but primarily I like placing sports bets because the gratification can be instant, and daily fantasy, same thing. Prize Picks combines my love for parlays with my love for daily fantasy. It's you versus the numbers. And if you want to put up numbers like Dave over here, who I think is at 3.9 million.
4.2.
Oh my God. Oh, and he's even doing Prize Picks Call of Duty. Like, people are playing video games in like Singapore, and this guy's doing over-unders on it. It's crazy. So tell people about your Prize Picks experience and how they can sign up and try it for themselves.
Yeah, even going back, like you said, college basketball is over, but throughout the tournament, like they had a lot of promotions. They had I think the other day they had a guy at like 0.5 points for the prop. So they're constantly putting stuff out there. Tuesdays, you should see if you go on Twitter or whatever, you go on the app to go sign up with code 5. You'll see the Taco Tuesday discounts. They'll have a player every couple of hours. It'll expire, but you can jump on that. Like you were saying, you can do. If you want to go on and do just a Heat game or just basketball, NBA, you can do that. But there's a lot of options on there. You can mix it up with hockey and soccer, like you were talking about. And that gives you an opportunity, too, to like do stuff during the day. It's not just at nighttime, right? So, while you're at work, you can check your phone and see how much money you made, type of thing. So, if you want to be a millionaire like me, I suggest you go sign up with Code 5.
And I think, like you said, it's a game changer that you can go cross sport and cross league, right? Like on the same day, I could have Gonzalo Higuain under 0.5 goals and over 7.5 hamburgers eaten, over 15.5 cigarettes smoked. Like I could have like a multi Higuain parlay, and I'm rich by the end of the day.
Those props are definitely there. And if they're not, Ethan will give everyone free tacos.
Oh, beautiful. I hope that's a promise. Well, Dave Friedman, thank you so much, man. And by the way, if you want to plug, because you do social media channels that I've never even heard of, like you're on TikTok, which I don't know how to use. You're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You're on everything. Where can people find you?
The TikTok thing is a little new. It's a TIK tick _ Taco Bout. Yeah. So we're keeping the Taco Bout, and everything else is Talk About Sports. I do Prize Picks on 5 with Ethan and Dave Eversole pretty much every Heat game day. Depending on what else is going on, we'll get some episodes in there. So come check us out.
Love it. Dave Friedman, thank you so much, sir, and enjoy Taco Tuesday tonight. What will you be eating on Taco Tuesday?
I had tacos yesterday, so tacos. Ready?
That was easy.
I love this dude.
I'm going to get it in there every time.
I expect nothing less. Enjoy the rest of your day, sir. We'll talk next week.
All right. Love you, man.
How about it? Love him too. Talk about it. I want to run through some shout outs here, my friends. And by the way, if you guys have the opportunity and if you're into it, if you're a Miami Hurricanes fan, a Canes football fan, I am the host now as of late last week, and I'm having a great time. I am the host of the Locked On Canes podcast. Some of you are probably aware of the Locked On Network already. They give you daily podcasts for the teams you love. Like I've been following my good friend Kyle Krabs has been hosting Locked On Dolphins for the last couple of years. I'm now hosting Locked On Canes. I literally put out an episode every single day. I drop them very early in the morning, so you can catch them in the morning commute and the afternoon commute. And with basketball season being over, full steam ahead with football, spring football, position breakdowns, projections. Had an episode come out this morning, having an episode coming out tomorrow morning. So if you do get a chance and you want to listen to me talking some Miami Hurricanes football, go to on anywhere you get your podcast, Locked On Canes. Be sure to subscribe if you're a Miami Hurricanes fan. If you're not, then maybe you won't like it. But if you are a Hurricanes fan, episodes every day talking Canes football and, sometimes baseball and basketball when they're in season. So Locked On Canes. I'm having a great time with that so far. I love keeping busy. I love doing this show every day. I love doing the Locked On Canes every single day. It's a lot of fun, my friends. So let me run through some shout outs. My guy Shake Money is in. Says, I hope you do the Locked On Dolphins. See, I don't know. I think Kyle Krabs is actually really good, but no, he's got Locked On locked down. So I can only handle Locked On Canes right now, but I do think Kyle is really good at Locked On Dolphins. But thank you for the compliment anyway. Michael Severe, thank you so much. 1-15. No one has a better squad. Duncan better play over Vic in the playoffs. Duncan, if he were to actually turn it on and have some big performances in the playoffs, I wouldn't be completely shocked, and I would welcome it. It's just the guy has been mud this year. And I used a strong word earlier. I don't really hate Duncan Robinson. I don't. I get on the guy. Seems like a really good dude, and he was really good last season. I've been very frustrated with him this season. I don't hate him. I don't really hate anybody, except maybe Putin. Brooklyn Rob, hello. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Brooklyn Rob said, I talked about instant gratification. He said, instant gratification on sports bets. Who the hell are you kidding, Mush? And I said, or instant misery. But it's instant something. I like to get the results quickly because if you have like a really bad season in a year-long fantasy football team, you've got to wait like 4 months to find out how bad you were, right? Whereas if you're doing daily fantasy or sports betting, you find out quickly. And David has accused me of secretly being Duncan Robinson's biggest fan. Guilty as charged. What can I say? Jamie Hernandez, thank you so much for tuning in. He says, Heat going to the finals. I love it. I'm not sure who he was calling a clown earlier, but somebody's a clown. I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's Taco. No one would ever call Brady Hawk a clown. He's not a clown. He called somebody a clown. Let's see. He's probably calling EP a clown for saying first round exit. That's probably what it was. If the Heat do draw the Nets, I think the Heat will win the series, but a lot of people would be picking a first round exit because they're just going to assume, KD and Kyrie are just going to have some kind of magic. That's just going to be the way it is. Thank you so much. Seiko won all to the finals. I would tend to agree. I don't know if anybody's beating Phoenix, but I think we could very well get to the NBA finals. More shout outs. Jean or Jean Rosario says, and you think he's going to be a number one with those numbers? James, thank you so much. ESPN sucks with Miami Heat coverage. Yeah, honestly, to get Miami Heat coverage, I usually go to YouTube and I find clippings from people's YouTube channels. Of course, there's a lot of good stuff on this network, 5 Reasons Sports. And I don't know, that's a way that like live games are live games, but when it comes to like breakdowns, I probably do a lot more these days. I consume a lot more on YouTube than I do on actual cable sports TV, and it's probably not a good sign for cable sports TV because I know I'm not the only one. Like I know I'm not the only person who's thinking like if I want actual Miami Heat breakdowns, I need to search it out on the internet. I know I can't just get it on ESPN or Fox Sports 1. Maybe NBA TV a little bit better, but still like I go to YouTube for most of that stuff. William Davis, thank you so much. Appreciate you tuning in. Let's see. Danny, thank you. Depot over Gabe in a potential Heat Bucks series. Yeah, I think Spoelstra is smart enough to go by matchup as well. I think he can adapt if need be. Benton, thank you so much. Yeah, and I agree with this. 9 or 10 doesn't matter when it comes to the rotation. 9 men, 10 men, just get the best men on the court. Said, thank you so much. We appreciate you tuning in. Eli, thank you so much. It's a money thing before you get recognized. My bad. I don't know if he was discussing. We talked about the whole TV coverage thing, how it's about clicks and money. Oh, here it is. So you mean to say the fans don't think the Heat will win against the Nets? No, I think the fans do think that they'll win. The Heat fan, Nets. Are there any Nets fans though? Like anybody living in New York, they're probably a Knicks fan, even though the Knicks are, they've been terrible forever. For over 20 years at least. More Knicks fans there. And like even when the Heat play the Nets in Brooklyn, all I hear are "Let's go Heat" chants. Like I don't think the Nets have any fans, but I think Heat fans think that they'll win the series against the Nets. They're just kind of frustrated because that's a better roster than you would normally face in the first round when you're the 1 seed. I think that's all it is. Daddy Dean, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. Cookie Monster there, Jermaine King. Thank you for tuning in. Xenon. I think he's talking about the rotation should be kept situational. I agree. Jay South, thank you for tuning in. Sean, thanks for watching. Ian from Brooklyn, my dude. Thank you for tuning in. Jacquez, thank you so much. South Florida Sports News, thank you. A couple more here. My guy G.A. Kane fan, I guess he's out of Georgia. He's somewhere in West Florida. I don't know if by West Florida he means like the Panhandle or if he means like Southwest Florida, like Fort Myers, Tampa. I've only been to the Panhandle once. Years and years ago, I had a friend who had relatives in what is that place called? What not Panama City. What the hell is that? I'm drawing a blank here. There's that like the Pensacola. That's the one. I went over to Pensacola. It does not feel like Florida. Like Pensacola, it's Alabama. Like it does not. I mean, it's nice enough place, but like everybody's like Southern accents, like the whole. It did not feel like Florida. It felt like someplace else. It was so different. Like the Florida Panhandle is so different from the part of Florida that I live in. It's a completely different world. All right, so that'll do it. We got another shout out in. Caesar, thank you so much. Machavik, thank you so much. Here's the thing with the Nets. If it were one game and done, we would be worried. But the Heat will wear Kidd and Kyrie down. KD, I think he means. Oh, yeah. I can't read. I thought there was an I in there. I thought Kidd. I'm like, oh, KD. They will wear KD and Kyrie down with the rotations. I completely agree. I wouldn't be worried about a full playoff series. Taco, thank you so much. Now, I don't think you were the one he was calling a clown. So, yeah, I want to remind you guys on the way out, the 3 big ways to support the show and support the channel. And please support the entire channel because there's so many great people. We had 2 of them on today. So many great people on the 5 Reasons Sports Network producing content, working their asses off to entertain and inform you guys. Subscribe to the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. Turn the notifications on so you know every time we're live. And you only have to do that once. Like if you subscribe, you are subscribed until you unsubscribe. So you stay subscribed. But the most important thing, smash the like button because that's new for every video we do. Whether you're watching us live right now at 3 p.m. on Tuesday or you're watching us later via replay, hit the thumbs up button. Like this video. It takes a second and it's absolutely free. You can also support us if you want to. You don't have to because the regular live chat is free and we read a ton of messages. But if you want to leave us a tip in the chat, you can use the super chat, and those are much appreciated. And I do not take even the majority of that. That gets funneled through the network and to our producer, Manny Chang. So I just get a little piece of that. I want you to help out the entire channel with that. So if you can leave us a super chat, that is awesome. And supporting our sponsors is a big one because I don't have a show without them. I do broadcasting for my career. This is not a hobby for me. And these wonderful businesses want to back us, and I appreciate that. Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Head out to the Quarterdeck. Big time dinner this week. The seafood is always fresh. The happy hour is always on. Happy hour never ends. 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. The beer is always cold. The food is delicious. It's a great place to watch all the big games. So check them out online, quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. And yeah, we have an official sports book. America's favorite sports book, betus.com. Fully available in Florida, by the way. They also have a casino right there on the site. So even when you're not betting sports, you can play blackjack, slot games, table games for real money. Sign up with our code 5RSN125, and they're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus. That's 5RSN125. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. We will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Going to be back at 2 p.m. tomorrow. That's the usual time. I know sometimes life gets in the way, and I have to do the show at a different time. But that's one of the reasons why I love this platform so much, in that if I've got an appointment or a meeting around 2 o'clock and I have to do the show at 3, I can do the show at 3. But 2 o'clock is the regular time. So we will be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. right here on another episode of Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. See ya.